great health care, a great retirement system, things that will take care of our people for a lifetime.
For sure, and I would like to say that I am one of those non-educators. I'm a true journalist. I went to school for journalism, so I don't have a background in education, but here I am working for a school district. So I'm a prime example of you don't have to be in the education field to work in a school district.
Not only don't have to be, we need people who are not educators to help us run this city that we call CMSD. So we count on having great professionals in our classrooms in our schools, absolutely, but we also count on the people that make the place run, and that's the people, you know, running our media, that's the people running our buses, that's the people, you know, that you know, are cleaning our buildings or cooking for our kids. And so again, I would just encourage people to not discount the opportunity to work for us just because you're not a teacher. There is so much more to this organization that allows our teachers to do what they do.
Great. So we have a question from a student. He says, can Glenville get new drums for a marching band by next football season? I guess Glenville wants to start up a marching band.
So we are investing aggressively in arts, physical education, and music, and so our executive director of arts, his name is Jeffrey Allen, has been proposing a budget. We started at primary and middle school over the last 2 years. We want it to grow forward. I would love to see a drum line at Glenville. We've already seen one over at John Marshall that went from drum line to band.
Yeah.
I will also just brag on Glenville not only has great athletics teams, but they also have a great cheer squad, and the very next thing they need is that drum line. So I'll make sure that we flag that for Mr. Allen so that we are making sure that those resources are available as we head into fall.
Wonderful. So another question from a student. You know, I was wondering, in what way can the current and upcoming CEO help improve student performance levels? I have a 4.0 GPA, and my ELL class is not as exciting. And they can't because they have to meet the Ohio standards. You know, I understand, but you know, just talking about test scores, if you want to know how to raise test scores and restore CMSD as a premier school district, wondering, you know, how that can happen. Talking about grandparents used to, you know, went to CMSD as well, but want to know how to make, I guess, classes a little bit more exciting, not just teach for the test.
Yeah, well, so first of all, I have never used the words teach to the test in my 16 years in this district, but urban districts often get caught in a mythology that that's the only thing they can do. That's why we're making this shift to more complex tasks that are worth productive struggle with our kids. So that's problem and project-based learning activities. That's doing a lot more blended learning, anytime, anywhere, things that are place-based, things that are more technology-based. These shifts take time to get in, you know, across the whole system. What I would say is, you know, we went from being the single worst performing district in the state of Ohio in 2011 to being the highest performing urban school district in Ohio on the last report card. That does not mean we have arrived. We're not the #1 in the state. That should be our goal. We're not #1 in the nation. That should be our goal. But we have lots of evidence that what our kids are doing, this person, young man or young woman, is doing, what their classmates are doing, what our teachers are doing, is paying off. I would point to that report card again. I would also point to a really important report from an organization called Council of the Great City Schools called Windows or Mirrors. And it looked at test data on 4th and 8th grade reading and math nationwide. And it asked the question, are school districts simply mirrors of their community? So we are, you know, one of the highest childhood poverty communities in the country. We're 86% children of color. Are we simply a stereotype of that? Do we just mirror that back? Or are we windows of opportunity? We were one of only 6 districts in the country that was showing that we were windows of opportunity, and that we were getting better every single year. So we have to keep that course. We have to keep making our classes more engaging, more problem and project based, less teach to the test, more anytime, anywhere kinds of stuff. And the good news is that the CEO job profile was posted actually this weekend, and if this student or anyone would read it, they will see a signal from the Board of Education that the goal is to continue and accelerate what's already going on, not to abandon it and start over, which can give hope that the next CEO will be doing this push for improved academics as well.
And speaking of your successor, I know that the Alma Advisory Group was at the last board meeting to give a report on the findings that they had when they were back here in January, and where they held close to 100 meetings to really get the community's input about who they would like to see as your successor. I know that you're not a part of the process. I know that the school board is, heading this up, but can you say, or do you know, like, what the next step is now that that job posting is officially out?
Yeah, so first of all, anybody who's interested in this should continue to go to clevelandmetroschools.org/CEO search. The board is keeping the community very well updated, including the actual job profile and application is on our website. So again, it went live on Saturday. It's on our website right now. The community feedback that we got, or the Alma group got for us, is on the website. A recording of it, if people want to watch it being reported to the board, is on the website. So the board has really committed to a transparency that I think is really important, and so any member at any time can go and see all of that content. There's also a timeline showing exactly where we are. It even has a little pin on the top saying we are here, and it is in the second week of February. That pin has been moving. Where we are now is the job profile is live. People can actually be applying. As I understand it, lots of people have already reached out and expressed interest in this job. That should not be a surprise. This is a job in my field in K-12 education that is highly desirable. Cleveland is a gem of a city with national reputation that people want to be a part of. Again, we tend to be hard on ourselves here in the land, but the rest of the world is actually watching. And so, but now the job, people are filling out the applications. The board will be screening those applications into early March. They plan to be interviewing and narrowing the pool to some finalists as they head into April. And then they have committed to coming back to the community with a process that engages the community in finalist conversations. They haven't announced what that is yet. I don't know because I'm not part of the design. What I do know is that commitment is real, and that they will be back to share what exactly that looks like before they start doing finalist interviews here in April. Their goal is to have somebody in place hopefully as early as May, so that that person and I have May and June to work together to ensure a seamless transition as he or she takes the helm.
I understand. Well, you are watching a live edition of Talk to the CEO, and Mr. Gordon wants to answer your questions. So if you have a question, please put it in the comments on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and a member of the communications team will review it and then send it to me, and then I will ask Mr. Gordon your question. But until then, I do have another question for you, Mr. Gordon.
Sure.
So the construction at Joseph M. Gallagher is underway as a part of the Segment 8 capital improvements. Now, recently the district held a community input session about replacing the exterior brick and other changes. So I just wanted to see, how is that project going, as well as the others at Lincoln West, Marion C. Seltzer, and Clark?
Sure. So we're really excited about the Gallagher project. Gallagher is in their temporary or swing home in the old Garrett Morgan school building while we're renovating their building. One of the things we have to do is reskin the building. The exterior brick has to come down, a new brick has to come up. That gives us a great opportunity to give it just a more robust feeling, and so we presented to the community what I think are really exciting renderings using primary colors on the towers of that building. So that building has had kind of a it's a narrow window 1970s kind of a just brick fortress. This really brightens it up, puts some awnings on it, puts some color on it, makes the name a lot more prominent. So I'm really excited about giving our kids and communities something that just has a better school energy like some of our newer buildings do. So we're really excited. The project's well underway. For Clark, we are actively working on finalizing H. Barber Booker. Our site on 65th Street is the swing site. Clark will move over the summer, and then we will tear down the existing Clark and build the new one. We've shared renderings in the community. We've bought some properties around so that we have a bigger and more accessible footprint there. And when it reopens, it will become the new home of a merged Clark and Walton School, which was the board's commitment when they rebuilt it. Marion Seltzer, site prep is underway because we're going to build that school on the same property and then move into it and tear down. So it's a land swap with the city of Cleveland. Again, really excited about that work. Also really important that we preserve and honor the Tamir Rice Memorial there for Tamir, who was our 12-year-old who was shot and killed on that property. So we're being really sensitive that that needs to be a feature remembrance around the new Marion Seltzer. Lincoln West then comes behind. We can't start Lincoln West until the Garrett Morgan facility opens up because there needs to be a place for those kids to go when we go through the rebuild of Lincoln West. The big challenge, and I always want to be just totally clear, post-COVID, the inflationary rates have been incredible. in everything, as we know, construction has been one of those. And so construction costs are significantly higher than we anticipated. So we are paying very close attention to the state budget and the state capital budget, because we get 2/3 of our funding from the state of Ohio. And so we're waiting to see if the state is going to increase their allocation to help offset some of those inflationary prices, because we don't obviously want to spend all of our local money and then not have enough money to complete the full project. So there's more work to be done, but really excited about the progress of the projects, and particularly the K-8 projects, which are scheduled first. And then, like I said, Lincoln West can then move forward once the K-8 facilities are reopened, and we can have Garrett Morgan for a swing site for them.
Understand. Well, so parents are now starting to think about what to do with their kids during the summer. So Summer Learning Experience will be back again for a 3rd year in a row. And that'll be taking place June 20th through July 21st. But what can parents expect this year with the Summer Learning Experience?
So Summer Learning Experience is going to look and feel very similar to what we've done the last 2 years. We've gotten really positive feedback on it. We're finalizing site selections right now. We'll be starting to communicate it here very shortly. We're working with the city and other partners to have what happens between the last day of school and June 21st. So mini camps that parents can participate in, with your children can participate in, so that they roll right into Summer Learning Experience. What happens after July 21st before school starts? More mini camps, and again, partnerships with city recreation, libraries, and other community partners. We really want our parents to be able to build an agenda that lets them have their kids engaged in something when school's out, before summer learning begins, during summer learning, after summer learning ends, and back to school. And one of the things that we learned is that a lot of parents who thought they were going to go to summer learning found camps that they put their kids in that overlapped. And so we're trying to make sure that there is a bridge that allows all of those to be seamless, and hopefully a one-stop registration as well. But we're well underway for planning. We want another really robust summer experience, and super excited. It's hard to believe that it's already here with the end, second half of 3rd quarter already.
Yeah.
So we'll be ready.
So is there a date on when registration might open?
Don't have that date set yet, but it's coming much sooner than it has been in the past, because we now know how to do this and to stand it up a lot more quickly.
Great. So we do have one question. As CEO, Gordon nears the finish line of his leg of the race. What is the biggest challenge he faces before handing off the baton to the next CEO?
I don't know if it's a challenge I face. There are 3 things that I feel like I need to accomplish successfully in this transition. One is a final, really strong school year. So far, our data is looking very, very promising, even over last year. And again, we were ranked top-rated district, urban district in Ohio last year. So I hope we land that another time, even stronger. But we also have to do it, with an operationally and effective school year. So challenging these real safety issues in our community and those sorts of things. But a good, strong final year under my leadership. The second is really making sure that our PACE, or career planning work, is fully embedded into the system, so that, like Say Yes and the Pre-for-CLE and the things that have come before it, it lasts beyond me. And then the third is making sure that we have a really successful transition, and that it's not institutional knowledge lost after my 12 years as CEO and 16 years in the district, and somebody comes in and all of that is gone, but that there's truly a supportive handoff that makes sure the next person is set up for success. So I don't know that I think of it as a challenge necessarily, but 3 things that I'm expected to accomplish, and that I expect personally to accomplish on behalf of the community. And then I just would also say that I'm stepping down from the role, but I'm not leaving Cleveland. This is my home. My wife and I live in the city. We plan to continue living in the city. And so, I won't be in the way. It is not helpful for a new CEO to have me keep showing up, but I'll always be a cheerleader and champion for CMSD, and making sure that in any way I can, that the district continues to find success.
Well, that's comforting to hear. So state testing is coming up in the spring, and now is a great time for students to start preparing, and we offer online tutoring that's free by our own CMSD educators. Can you just talk about how important that is for students to take advantage of that, even, just to prepare for the tests, but also if they need a little extra help with some of the classes, that this is available to them.
Yeah, I would actually argue that it's more about getting the help you need and less about the test. The test, if we teach well and our kids learn the things that we're trying to teach them, the tests will take care of themselves. And so again, there is a push in urban districts that these tests are the only thing that matters, and certainly those test scores are how we are rated. But I would argue that by focusing on things like the problem-based learning and the anytime, anywhere, and the tutoring for what you really need, that's what's actually driving test scores. But I am really excited about the tutoring. It's available Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Our students and parents can sign up online. It's an online registration. It is done through our students' school email address, so that we have security protocols of who's on with their teacher. It's done in an online environment that the kids are already familiar with, using Microsoft Teams, where the teacher and the student are working in that environment and in 30-minute increments. They are our CMSD teachers, and it is at all grade levels. So people should certainly take advantage of that. And then we have another layer of tutoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, called tutorme.com. These are not our teachers, but these are people from literally across the globe who have expertise in various content and can jump on and help our kids if they come into a problem with a particular course. It's really good for more specialized courses like your chemistry or your anatomy or your calculus or your advanced journalism, whatever it might be, where a general tutor may not be the right fit for you. So it's just one of the many ways that we're trying to create this get more experience that keeps showing up on our screen that we heard from the community. Yeah, things are improving, but we don't have the same things as the suburbans do. So we've been really trying to find ways to bring that to our community, and this Get More Tutoring is one of those.
Perfect. So an 11th grader wants to know, what has CEO Gordon learned about managing from the relationships he has formed with students?
Well, it's funny. Somebody said to me this morning at a breakfast meeting that they were telling somebody that they don't know that they could name another CEO of any kind of company who is as enthusiastic 12 years into the job as they were on day one. And my immediate response was, that's because of kids. And what I've learned is when I'm having a bad day, I don't have a ton, but when I'm having a bad day, all I need to do is get out into schools and be with my kids, and that will make my day better. This weekend, Saturday, I spent almost the whole day doing district level things, and people said, "You worked all weekend?" And I said, "Well, I don't know that I worked. I spent, 3.5 hours watching our wrestlers compete in the City Wrestling Championship. Congratulations, John Adams, for taking the title, and to our men and women wrestlers who trophied at the City Championship." So I don't know that I think of that as work, because I had kids literally come up and sit down next to me because they noticed that I was there. Right? And then I went straight from there to John Marshall, where Marshall and Kennedy were competing in the first round of the sectionals, and I got to watch the girls and girls basketball championship kickoff. Those are the things that bring me joy and energy. I talk all about joy and adventure in our students' experience. You can't have joy and adventure in their experience if you don't experience it yourself, and it is our young people that have always given me the fuel that lets me do this work. I'll just say another thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many students over now 16 years who have my cell number, and not once in 16 years has anybody ever abused it. Because when you just put out there that this is a relationship, that we're in this together, that I care for you, you care for me, then we're going to have a good experience. And so, again, it has always been, when I need energy, it's the kids who bring me that energy and fuel me to keep doing this work.
Wonderful. So I just wanted to finish up with some positive news. Well, earlier this month, the Cleveland City Council approved $3.7 million in COVID-19 stimulus dollars to support the expansion of K-8 based health clinic systems. Now, currently, we do have those systems in John Adams College and Career Academy, the John Marshall School of Engineering, Orchard STEM School, and Mary Bethune pre-K through 8, where students, parents, and educators are eligible to receive services at the clinic. So how is that going, and if there are, what are the plans to possibly expand?
Yeah, so I'm really grateful to City Council for this investment. Look, this comes down to a strategic point of view that leaders like me have to make. There is a big push in this country that school districts should only focus on academics. You know, can you read? Can you do math? Can you pass your courses? And all of the other stuff is somebody else's responsibility. There are others of us, I am one of them, who believe that it is our job to take care of the whole child and whole family, the social, emotional, physical, and cultural wellness, and that you cannot actually be a great learner of your academics if we're not helping you be fully whole, fully healthy, bringing your full self to school and work every day. And so over my entire tenure, I've tried to lead with bringing things like our family support specialists. City Council just gave us $600,000 to support family support specialists in every school. Integrated health, where we're finding behavioral health and physical health supports for our kids. And so this $3.7 million is to help us to expand both physical health clinics in schools across the city and telehealth, so that we can connect you to those physical health clinics, so that our kids who already now have a full-time health professional, a nurse, who takes care of their immediate needs, who can also refer them to the physicians, the people who can prescribe medication, the people who can get them referrals to specialists if they need it, the people who can get them a primary home, a primary medical home. And so it's a really big boost to build the infrastructure and to engage the community to make sure that if you go to school in a CMSD school, we're going to take care of your health, your family's health, and actually our educators' health right at school too. And again, I would just say, we went back to the CEO search at the beginning. If you look at the job profile, one of the big things was continue to care for the health and wellness of kids and adults. So the board has signaled that this is still the direction they want the district to be going, even when I've moved on, which is, again, really rewarding to me, that our community believes in the whole child, the whole family, the whole community, and not simply the test scores and the academics, which there are other communities that that's all they're willing to do, and all of that other stuff is somebody else's responsibility or problem.
I understand. So another question is, you're known as a great mentor. What message would you like to give to those who are considering to become a mentor?
Do it. There is no solution other than showing up and being there for somebody who needs the support. Are there mentoring skills? Of course there are, but none of those skills matter if you don't just show up for people who need it, right? And your best is better than nothing at all, even if you don't think you can do it. Beyond there, I learned a really important lesson from one of my mentors years ago, which is don't give advice. Help people think about their options and then wish them well on the decision they will make, whether it's the decision you would have made or not. Because they're the ones that have to live with the consequences of that decision. So they also need your support to help them think of their options, and your trust that they will make good decisions so that they can grow in them. And I learned that because of a mentor who I went to advice for. I then made my decision, and then the very next day, he was also my superintendent at the time, he overturned my decision.
Oh.
And I went to him and said, you told me, like, these are the, and he said, I told you to make your decision based on your best thinking, and I trusted you to do it, and now you must trust me to make my decision on my best thinking. So don't give advice. Be there as an ear, be there as a thought partner, be there to support the mentee in whatever he or she chooses to do. But again, show up. Do nothing more than show up, and you've already won. They've already won.
Wonderful. So final question as we wrap up. Again, can't say it enough, but obviously your time is winding down. And is there anything that you want to, that you're working on accomplishing before your time is up?
Well, we talked about my three goals. The thing I'm most excited about is actually the Mackenzie Scott money. So we are working on right now establishing a student committee of high school students from across the city who will actually be paid a stipend to be the distribution committee and decide how that $20 million is expended. For me, that acknowledgement from Mackenzie Scott, she will never tell us why she picked us, so we have to presume. But for me, that is an acknowledgement of our kids and our community and our commitment to get more. And so I want our students to review the applications of what people hope to do with the money, and I want them to decide. So it is our expectation that starting this spring, students will allocate $400,000 a month for the next 5 years until all $20 million is spent by things they say matter to this school and community. And I want to see that stood up and operating before I go.
And students can also apply for some of this money.
When it launches very shortly, students can apply, parents can apply, faculty and staff can apply. The only thing that we are going to require of students and parents is that they have a faculty sponsor, just because we have to run the money through school accounting and students and parents don't do that. So they need somebody who's willing to do that on their behalf. But yeah, we want this to be open for opportunities for students, for parents and caregivers, for educators, and for one-time opportunities like improvements that make the whole community better. All of those applications then sent to a student panel who will determine which things are funded and not, based on some basic criteria that were established for the fund. But for me, to be able to leave the students with the power of allocating $20 million and with the power of thinking of themselves as the next adults to sit on the Cleveland Foundation Board or the George Gund Board or the National Hewlett Foundation Board, places where they deserve to be. I want them to see themselves in it now in school, and I want it on their resume when it's time to say, yeah, you know, I already have more experience coming out of high school than the other people you're considering for your board.
Wonderful.
So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, that is definitely something to be excited for. Well, thank you so much for your time again and answering questions of the viewers, of me, and I appreciate your time.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching Talk to the CEO Live and asking questions of Mr. Gordon. Until next time, thank you.